Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Good. All right. So let's get this shared. Today, we're going to be talking about the reading we do, which is reflective writing and the revision process. We'll go over some expectations for the presentations and so on. I can't mute myself anymore than this screen. It's unfortunate. No, I can. Okay. So the last bit of deadline reminders. We have our presentations on Monday and Wednesday, and then we have our final portfolio due by the end of our final exam hour by 2:30 on the 6th, which is a week and a half-ish from now. So yeah, all in all, we'll be covering the reading from the book. We'll go over the general guidelines, like I said, and then I'll announce how we'll give our presentations. I'll take one last look at the doodle poll and see if any other votes have been made toward that. So if you do have something you want to add to that, do take this time to vote in on that. So I'm so sorry if I cough a couple times to you guys. So with the reflection and the revision process, I pulled a few quotes. I have some slides with this, but reflection and reflective writing are umbrella terms that refer to any activity that asks you to think about your own thinking. And along with this, at the end of the essay, we composed a self-evaluative cover letter for our portfolio in which we discuss each of our essays from the semester and record our learning and insights about writing. And this is all part of the things that people need to think about when they are doing these bigger assignments, especially knowing where they went wrong in some of their choices or what sorts of paths didn't work out for them. But it isn't a moment. These reflective writings aren't a moment for you to suck up to the professor or just give your professor what she or he may want, but it is about acknowledging what you wanted to do with the project, where your topic changed, when you had writer's block, your eureka moments, your disgruntled self-hating of the assignment and completing it out of obligation or coercion, whatever. And then evaluating what you liked about your paper, what you think sort of worked, what you believe didn't work, and other such moments. Think of it as a journal entry that is tied to your academic life. So does this sort of thing have a purpose outside of your personal development? I think so, definitely. Whenever I read an essay, I go and check out the reflection, then go over the essay again and make my comments and assign my final grade. There have been moments where these reflections prevented some from getting a lower grade, whether it was because I became aware of a misunderstanding, or the person continuously changed their topic, or something came up, and so on. So does this mean you could just make up excuses to get a better grade? Well, it is too bad that this sort of thing came up at the end of the semester. I'm not suggesting that you line your future reflections in other classes. Genuine honesty is typically appreciated, but responses that seem catered or are full of "everything sucks for me," "wah," "please" will not get you anywhere and could possibly make you look worse with your professors. Messaging me, I thought I muted that. So what else does reflecting do? From our readings, reflection helps you develop your intentions, your purpose, figure out your relation to the audience, uncover possible problems with your individual writing processes, set goals for revision, make decisions about language and style, and the list goes on. So in a nutshell, it helps you develop more insight into and control over composing and revising processes. Basically, and I realize this piss yellow background is a bit distracting, it helps you gain more from your writing experience. The next time you begin your research for another paper, you'll have an easier time remembering the pitfalls in your search methods. You remember that in the past, you felt you should have contacted your peers or professors sooner for help. So what if your reflections always kind of suck in your opinion? Well, especially with this, they're not graded, so the sucking part is just subjective, but it's hard to view your own writing as a success if you didn't have clear goals in mind from the beginning. Sometimes you have to write a bad essay, or you need to write a shit reflection in order to establish a direct connection between what happened during the time that you dumped out a load of garbage versus the time you got a high grade. And I don't know why I put a question mark there, but that's what I did when I made these. So as writing is a recursive process, there are multiple steps that one must go through in the process of creation. These methods change between person to person, and of course, one person's process won't be the same as others. With a recursive process, we do at least have um, the steps that lay out this process. If you wanted to know what I was referring to specifically, this is just image I got from the internet, but it does constantly feed back into itself. One step is never just complete. It could always go back and start again, and so on. So let's go back. Okay, I went back too far. But yeah, it's hard to determine from personal perspective whether or not something actually sucks. Think about why I don't like your reflections or your essays, and write about that in your reflections. I hate having to say reflections so much. Generate a list of questions for yourself to answer if that format helps you more. For further information over this, the essay itself does help others generate these questions or ways to revise. I think it was pages 142 that have some examples and questions, like things that will help you generate responses to the questions posed in the essay, so that could help you too if you really need help with the reflection process. Although what I've read so far, they mostly seem fine. But intention is something that is hard to surmise from an essay. So while a student may have gone into a unit intending to write a particular essay, the actual paper that he or she creates could be completely different than the original idea. It could even be that a paper has gone through so much revision that the end result is a completely different paper than the writer thought that he or she created. Reflection helps bridge these connections together for the reader, which in this case is me, so at least know what could have happened, or maybe the point that you thought was super, like was evident in your paper or was obvious, may not be because of the revision process itself. Except some of you said do that. So that's all I had for that. So with the presentation guidelines, I had said 5 to 8 minutes, but then I realized I never went back in and changed that on the our Unit 3 form. So we just decided to keep it 4 to 6 minutes. So the time for your presentations are 4 to 6 minutes. So what the presentation should do, introduce your audience to your topic and projects. So yeah, introduce your audience to your topic and projects. What is the project's exigence? Why is it something that needs to be fixed right now? Sorry. What kind of impact do you desire? Who is your intended audience? Why did you choose your specific project? What rhetorical choices did you make during the construction of your project? What did you find out through your research? And then, I committed somebody. Other things to consider, what was your purpose in creating these projects? How did you try and meet your audience's needs and expectations? How do you want your audience to react to this information? How did you develop your ethos? Did you call upon any of the other appeals? What sources did you use? How do these sources feed into your multimodal project and so on? What are some of the best things about your projects, paper or multimodal? What are you unsure of? What may not work? What do you feel you should have done differently? And what is your overall opinion of your final project? I admitted him. Do you have any desire to continue the work you started with this project? And so on. I will, of course, post these on Blackboard if you wanted to use these as sort of the guideline for your presentation. I felt like it would be easier for you to do this whole process if you had something to work off of. And be sure that you stay concise enough to work within that 4 to 6 minute time frame, 5 to 8 minutes may have been easier if you had a lot to talk about, but 4 to 6 minutes will help us have more presentations in a day. And really, who wants to present for a super long time? So I'm okay with it just being 4 to 6 minutes. Just be sure that you practice and make sure that you're within this time frame if you need to. Well, if we do record something in advance, even if you use Zoom to record yourself in advance and send that to me, and I watch it, you kind of know right off the bat whether or not it was too long. What else do I have? Now, how are we giving our presentations? I have to go over and look and see if any other changes have been made to the doodle poll. I'm not seeing any new votes, but I will pull up really quick and see what it is as of right now. So 5 votes. So we have 3 votes for one-on-one presentations with the instructor, 2 votes for presentations to the class as a whole. So I guess this means that all the presentations next week will just be to me, so that you don't have to do it entirely as a class. There's still time to vote. If you at least wanted to have one for one-on-one presentations on Monday and then class presentations on Wednesday, if that would work out easier for you, if you wanted to see somebody present before you did your presentation, if you feel like that would help. But other than that, so when we're doing our presentations next week, currently it'll just be, I'll let you into, I guess, our Zoom room one at a time, since I do have a waiting room or whatever, and then you can just present to me and go on with your life until we meet again on Friday. And we'll just keep doing that for our meeting times. And when I put the schedule up, I'll have, I guess, 8 minutes sounds good enough. I'll have 8 minutes between sessions so that I can try to cram in as many people as possible during our lecture time. Although if the 11 to 12 hour doesn't work for you, I have I have no life. So if you need to meet with me later than a regular scheduled meeting time, you're free to do that. If you record something in advance, you can just send it to me. But currently, it looks like we're just doing these one-on-one with me, so you don't have to worry about other people looking at your project. It'll just be me, unless a lot of votes happen between now and when I make the schedule for meetings that you sign up for. And I figured I'd go through this stuff slower every time. But so yeah, the deadlines again, for those of you who missed it. The only thing we have coming up, the 27th and 29th are our presentations. This is like the last major thing you have to do, because it is the second part of Unit 3. It's worth just as much as the paper, but it feeds off of the paper. So as long as you make sure that you are clearly selling the stuff in your paper to a different audience, or making it more interactive, or trying to initiate some sort of change, which is the really important part of a change-making essay, then you should be fine. As long as you have a good starting point with your essay, then I don't see any problems with the presentations. I will be starting to grade those this weekend. So we'll see how many I get through. Since I've seen all these in rough draft form, it shouldn't take me too long. Although I said that for Unit 2 and it took me forever because I spent so much time making comments and everything. So I may try to lighten the amount of comments that I make on these essays. I'll make broader strokes so that I can be sure that I get through everybody's essays before the presentations, hopefully. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. So if you would like more feedback than the ones I give you in your paper, let me know. So when I do finish going over everybody's essays, I'll go back over and point out. Uh, I'll go back through the essay again. Just Hunter again. I'll go through your essay and give you as many comments as I can. So if you don't like the broad strokes with the comments, this could help you more. If you're just fine with having general comments over what works, what doesn't work, then you could just leave it as is. That gives you, if you want your grade changed for the final portfolio, of course you'll probably want more of these comments. So just let me know. Otherwise, so yeah. Then we have our final portfolios. I've gone over all the parts of the final portfolio in the past, but I will just bring it up one more time for anybody who needs to see it. And I have to remember that I do have some people's reflections for the first paper. And fortunately enough, there's some leeway with the reflections for the first paper because I know only 2 people didn't submit their reflections, so those are the only ones I would need to see reflections from. But portfolio, again, for when we submit it before the final time, it needs a title page, so just one page on its own. Your title, I did kind of go over that a little bit in the video, although I'm sure I also had a few tangents that makes it hard to watch, but whatever. Then a table of contents, I do go over and show you how to make that. I have some stuff in the chat. The portfolio, okay, I've seen some. I didn't notice there was some stuff in the chat. The portfolio, yeah, we'll just be submitting that. We'll be putting it on Google Docs as normal. If you're more comfortable, I have to turn up my phone's volume. If you're more comfortable submitting it to me through email because you want to do it through Microsoft Word, that's fine. But I will, when I grade it, I'll put it into your turn-in folder. But for now, just do it on Google through Google Docs or do it on Microsoft Word and put it into your turn-in folder. I don't want to mess with Blackboard. But the biggest part of the portfolio, the only thing you'll have to make new for it is the final reflection, which should be about 2 pages. And this is just your overall reflections from throughout the semester. And if you have trouble meeting the 2-page mark that I've set for the reflection, the final reflection, it's because I was too ambitious. So as long as I feel like your reflection covers your semester as a whole, the length should be fine, as long as you really dive into some of your struggles or problems that have happened through the semester and the things that you produce that you really liked. But yeah, so after the reflection, you'll go into your unit 1, just in order, your rough draft, your polished draft, and your reflection. Since you did submit everything through Google Docs for the most part, if you made all of your edits on your rough draft, you can still make a copy by going to your changes. You can see all your changes that you've done, find what was submitted as your rough draft, and then right-click it and then make a copy of that document by itself, and that will be your rough draft. It's kind of saved by Google Docs, fortunately. And like I said, with the reflection from this unit, if I find that I have put them in my office on campus in my drawer there, then I'll only expect it from the 2 people who didn't make a reflection in the first place. I'll let you know when I go through all my papers, because I really think I might have left them there because didn't think the last time I was in my office was the last time I was in my office. But yeah, so that's what we got going on there. Unit 2, pretty much exactly the same: rough draft, polished draft, reflection. And then Unit 3, this one's a little different only because you can also include the portion of your multimodal project in there. You can't exactly put your presentation with me or with the class into your portfolio, so you can just have like this screen capture of what you use for your project, or at least maybe an outline or a summation of it if you want. There's no point value for that portion of your portfolio. because it would be too hard to put it in there. But yeah, so that's what I got there. And that covers everything else. I still don't think I have any new posts for the doodle thing. So I'll make up a sorry. I'll make up a schedule for everybody to sign up with for Monday and Wednesday. I'll have slots for our meeting time, and then I'll have some extra assign your own time slots if 11 to 12 don't work for you. Anytime between 10 a.m. and 2 a.m. on Monday, so works. I'll make that clear in the thing that I send out. And for Wednesday, I have a meeting from 1 to 2, so that time will be off limits, but still 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. is acceptable for the most part. Just realize if you do want to have a one-on-one presentation with me at 1 o'clock in the morning for some reason, I'm not exactly going to be the most awake person, but we'll try it. Oh, okay, I see your question now. Oh, you can't hear me? Strange. But yeah, the portfolio slides, the ones that you just looked at, those are from week 13. They're on Blackboard already. I can at least copy a link to it, both the slides from today, the final portfolio slides, into my Blackboard announcement, so you'll have a copy of those. Oh. And so on. So after I get done with this, I will send out those meeting times, the sign up form, and yeah. So does anybody else have any other questions? Because I'm sorry, I'm spent. So let me know if you have any questions. If you need to stay and talk to me about anything that's gone on, then feel free to do so. Otherwise, you're free to go, and you can have a wonderful day, and then just sign up for the presentation times. And if you still feel like you need to do the doodle poll because you don't like how it turned out, or you want to make sure it stays the same way, then vote in doodle poll. But yeah, you're free to leave. You can have a good day. This was recording, wasn't it? Okay, yeah, so I'll stop sharing. Okay, good. So